Hi, I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to continue with my Fingerboard Geometry series. In this lesson, we'll be looking at part 1 of key signature spelling and the circle of fifths. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go with the topic of key spelling. Many of you have seen a piano keyboard or have maybe played a piano. The white keys on the keyboard are natural notes, which means notes that don't have sharps or flats after them. The pattern created by the major scale is easy to visualize on the piano because if you just play white keys, you will have the C major scale. Keep in mind that on any instrument, there is only one fret or one half step between E and F and B and C. Therefore, on the piano, if you play from C to C on the keyboard, you get the following pattern: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half between the notes of the scale. I'm going to go ahead and play that scale, which is a C major scale, across one string. Here's my C at the first fret on the second string. So if I go a whole step, I'll be on D. Another whole step, E. Here's my half step, which is F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, and then a half step to C. We number the scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So each scale degree has a number. C in this case is 1, or the root. So there's a whole step between 1 and 2, whole step between 2 and 3, half step between 3 and 4, whole step between 4 and 5, whole step between 5 and 6, whole step between 6 and 7, and a half step between 7 and the root or octave. Now let's go on to some basic rules for scale spelling. Step number 1. Start on your desired root letter for the major scale. So if I want to spell an A major scale, I would start on the note A. Here's an A at the 5th fret. Step number 2, use each of the letters of the musical alphabet once and once only. So the letters of the musical alphabet are A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. I can only use each of these letters one time. For example, I can't use G, G sharp, and G flat in the same scale. I can only use one version of G. That would either be G natural, G sharp, or G flat, but no combination of Gs. Once I've used the letter G, that's it. After making sure that you've used each letter of the musical alphabet one time and one time only, you can go on to step number 3. Step number 3 is to make sure that the letters adhere to the formula for the major scale, which is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. After that, you can double check to make sure your scale fits rule number 4, which is that only flats will be used in a key together or only sharps. Your key signature will never combine flats and sharps. You will either have keys with flats in them or keys with sharps in them, or you will be in the key of C, which has no flats or no sharps. Let's go through a couple of examples. Let's go ahead and spell the A major scale. We're going to start on the root letter A. I'll be at the 5th fret on the first string. Now let's go ahead and find all the letters of the musical alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Many of you will understand that this is not a major scale. It doesn't sound like a major scale because major scales either have sharps or flats in them, with the exception of the key of C. Since we're in the key of A and we've used no sharps or flats, it will not sound like a major scale. Now let's go ahead and modify this to our whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half pattern so that we can make this sound like a major scale. Now you could just play the major scale. Here's my root A. Go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. But that doesn't do you any good when you're actually trying to spell this on paper. You need to use the correct letters. So let's see how we can apply what we've already learned to make sure that we can actually spell the letters of the major scale. A to B is a whole step. So we've used both the letter A and B. Now the next letter in the musical alphabet is C natural, but we know we're not going to use that because we need to start the scale with 2 whole steps. A to B is a whole step, B now to C sharp is a whole step. So we're going to call this note C sharp. We're not going to call it D flat because we have to make sure that we use the letter C in our scale spelling. You can't skip right on from the letter B up to D and not use a C. So we're going to call this a C sharp. A, B, C sharp. The next letter in our musical alphabet is D, and that is the correct note for our scale. The next letter after the letter D is E, and that is the correct letter. We're up to the 5th in our scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's a whole step to our next letter or our next note in the scale. The question is what to call that. Well, we're currently on E, so we need to call this letter some kind of F. Well, here's our F natural, so we're going to call it F sharp. And then after the 6th degree in our scale, F sharp, we have a whole step to the 7th degree of our scale, which is this note. Now we're not going to use the G natural because we needed a whole step, so we're going to call this now G sharp. Again, we have to account for a G in our scale. And then we'll be back to our octave A. That's our root. So here's the scale one more time. A, B is the 2nd, C sharp is the 3rd, D is the 4th, E is the 5th, F sharp is the 6th, G sharp is the 7th, and A is the octave. So in the A major scale, we had 3 sharps. We had C sharp, F sharp, and G sharp. All right, now let's spell an A flat major scale. I could just go ahead and play the A flat major scale starting at A flat on the 4th fret for string and use my whole, whole, half, whole, whole, whole half pattern, and I would be able to play that perfectly. There's my root A flat, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So I have my major scale, but I need to make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. That involves using every letter of the musical alphabet only one time and making sure that in this case we use flats in the key. Now, how did I know that there are flats in the key? Well, my root letter is A flat, and since I can only have sharps or only flats in the key, and my root letter is a flat note, that means that I will use flats to make this key signature. Let's go ahead and figure that out. Starting on A flat, I need to go a whole step. So that note needs to be a B of some kind, and in this case, it's a B flat. My next move from the 2nd to the 3rd of the scale needs to be a whole step. So I arrive on the next letter of the musical alphabet, C. That is the correct note. Now, from the 3rd to the 4th of the scale, there's a half step. If I go to the next note, I need to be on some kind of D. This will be a D flat in this case. The next note needs to be a whole step away. So I'm right now on the 4th of the scale, and I will go to the 5th of the scale. So I'm moving a whole step. After D in the musical alphabet comes E. So this will actually be an E flat. And then we need to move another whole step from the 5th of the scale to the 6th of the scale. The next letter after E is F. So I have an F natural in this case. F natural works. And then I need another whole step after this F natural, so I move up a whole step. I'm on now the letter G natural, and that works. And then I need to move a half step here, and I arrive back at my root letter A flat. Let's play that one more time. A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G natural, and A flat. The key of A flat has 4 flats: B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. Well, that's it for part 1 of key signature spelling and the circle of fifths. I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon.